Hello, guys, and welcome to day number 3 of this series, 30 Days of JavaScript. So, before starting on this problem, let's do some recap. So, yesterday or previously, we did problem number 2, which was counter, where we have to create a function called createCounter, and that function will return another function that will return the value of n initially, and then the second time that is being called, it's going to return the value of n plus 1, and so on and so forth. So that was yesterday, and on the first day we did create hello world. So all of the problem were solved. So now today we are doing problem number 3, which is to be or not to be. Okay, so let's go ahead and read the problem statement. So this one says, write a function expect that helps developer test the code. It should take in a value var and return an object with the following two functions. The first function will be to be and accept another value. That function accepts another value and return true if the two values are equal to each other. If they are not equal to each other, it's going to throw an error saying not equal. The second function will be named not to be and accept another value and return true if the two values are not equal to each other. And if they are equal to each other, it's going to throw an error saying equal. Okay, and down here we have some example. We have example number 1. So after creating the function, we are going to call this function expect, pass the value of 5, and call the method of the function to be, pass the value of 5. So this one returned true because 5 and 5 are equal. Number 2 here, we do expect, and we call the function to be inside expect. For the first one, we pass the value of 5, and on to be, we pass the value of null. And here you see that throw an error saying not equal, because 5 and null are not equal. And on the third example, it's giving us, we are doing expect, pass the value of 5, and calling not to be, and pass the value of null. And it returned true because 5 and null are not equal. So this is what it's supposed to do. Now let's go ahead and break down the code so that it's easy for us to comprehend. Alright, so the first thing that we are going to do is create a function name expect. And this function expect will take a value. Expect that take a value. So we can call it argument, but it's going to take essentially a value, which will be a string. And the value that it's going to take is this one. So we'll go ahead and create that function. That will be the first step. So today I want to do it a little bit differently. Instead of breaking down everything, so what we're going to do is let's just do the way we used to, so that's easy. So we create a function expect, name expect, and that function will take a value. Now the second thing that we want is for the function expect to return an object. So expect function should return an object with, okay, I think I have space here, with two functions. So the object that will be returned by the expect function will have two functions inside of it. Okay, so let's do this part first. and then we are going to do the next part. So here we create the function name expect, and this function will take a value and then return an object. Okay, has to return two objects. And what are those two objects? So it says here we're gonna have to be, the two objects will have a function to be and not to be. So what we want to do here is name the, because the object is a key value pair, right? So the key for the object, for one of the elements that the object will return, it's going to be named to be, and the other one is going to be named not to be, because they will be functions, so they will have the property of function instead of string or integer and stuff like that. So what we are going to do here is have two functions inside the object that the expect function is returning. So the first one will be to be, right? Let's do it this way first, and the next one will be not to be, and I'm gonna do it this way. But what we want is for this element right here, the to be not to be a string, because this one represents like it's a string, but we want it to be a function. So we are going to change it to be a function like this, and do the same thing for the not to be. Now here's the rule, the rule for to be and not to be. So for to be, it will accept a value. So what we're gonna do here is say this one accept the value. Now we wanna do the comparison, the if statement, the conditional, I would say. Condition number one, return true only if for the to be, return true only if the value match. So what we will do is, so here what I'm gonna do is, instead of saying value just, I would say value number two to make it to show that this one is different. Now inside here, return true if value is equal to value 2. Else throw error. Throw an error. And pretty much we will try to do the same thing for this one. But here we are going to return true if they don't match, because that's what it says here. Return true if the two values don't match. Okay. So let's go ahead and code this part of the problem. Now we are going to use the if statement here. So if val is equal to val number 2, so if value 1 is equal to value number 2, then we'll go ahead and return true. Else we need to throw an error. So to throw the error, we are going to write throw new error, and what we need to be displayed would be not equal, because the value are not equal. So after the error is being thrown, we need to return not equal, so that whenever we want to print what the error is saying, we can see the value here saying like not equal. So pretty much this one is like this. All right, and we will do the same thing for this part right here. So it's gonna be if val is not equal to val2, we will return true. Else, we'll throw an error, throw a new error, and the message in the error will be equal, as it says here. Yeah, and I think that's the end of the problem. So let's break it down again. We create a function named expect. This function take some argument, actually take an argument, one argument only, that it is going to be a string based on the parameter here. It says we are giving you this parameter, but it is a string. The parameter is a string. It's going to take an argument, but this function here expect return an object. Okay, so the object is a key value pair. So we have two functions inside that object, to be and not to be. The to be here represents a key of the value. This is the key and this is the value of the key. The value of the key is a function. So whenever we reference this key right here, we are going to get this function. Now, the to be also take value, one value. And inside the to be, we are going to do a comparison. We are going to compare the value passed on the expect function and the value passed on the to be. If they match, we return true. If they don't match, we throw an error saying not equal. And on the not to be function, we do the same thing. This one is a key, and this one, the left part of the column is the key, and the right side is the value. When we reference the not to be, we are going to get this function right here. Now, there is a typo because I didn't pass the val inside this function. So if we decided to run this one, we were going to get an error. So I'm going to run it. So let me finish explaining this one first. And the same thing as the to be, what is happening here, we are going to compare the two values, and if the value match, we are going to return true. And if the value don't match, we are going to return true. And if the value do match, we are going to throw an error, because the not to be is essentially has to be true. Essentially has to be true when the value don't match. But if they match, we throw an error saying that it's equal. Now, remember I said, because we forgot to pass the value here, it's going to give us, we are going to fail some test, I believe. And also this one, we have the 3 dots, maybe because this value is not present in this scope. So if I try to run this, I'm going to get, I don't think I'm going to pass. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to pass. So because here you can see, it's telling us for the not to be, we need to have a value passed to the function. So if I run this, you see, now we're getting an error. And I believe the error that we are getting is because I am missing a value. But it says here, unexpected end of input. Interesting. In line 62 of solution, I'm not up to 62 here. So what is going on? I have this part right here. Have it to be. It seems like this one is not closed. Let me close this part right here. Yeah. So I think what happened is that I have this function open here and close on this side. I have this one open and closed here. And I have this function open and closed here. The if and else were closed. But in here, I had this one open. So if I do Control Z, but it was not closed. So this group of code right here were not closed. So I needed to close this one so that this not to be will be a function and will actually essentially perform the code inside here. And I think that's the reason why I had this error. Now, if I run it again, let's see what we got. All right. So as I said, I'm not passing the value here. That's the mistake that we had. But I want you guys to see what would happen. So case number one, this one worked. Expect value, we pass 5 and we say to be 5. It's true because 5 and 5 are equal. We come here, we say expect 5, pass not to be, throw an error saying not equal because 5 and no is not the same. Now when we came to test case number 3, you see that we failed. We pass 5 and then no, the error saying that val number 2 is not defined. The reason why this one is not defined because inside of this block of code, we don't have the value, we don't have val 2. So in order to fix this one, we need to pass val 2 inside of this function so that it can be used inside of the block of code here. Now, if we go ahead and run this one, that should fix the problem and we should pass all the case. Yep, as you can see, we pass all the case. All right, and then let's go ahead and submit. Voila, perfect. So as you can see, the code has been accepted. Wow, we beat 96.16% of user with JavaScript. And here we beat 98.94% of user with JavaScript. So that means this code is good. So yeah, the code has been accepted. So this is the end of this episode. Thank you very much, guys, for watching, and feel free to subscribe and like this video, and also leave a comment, a feedback. I would really appreciate. So thank you once again. You have a wonderful day, and bye bye for now.